Good morning, students. How are you all? Hello, how are you doing? Hope all of you are fine. So let's get started now. But before doing studies, we have a riddle time right now. Yes, I will ask you a question. You will think the answer and then I will give you the answer also. Yes, then you can go and ask this riddle question to your parents and your friends. Yes, and then you will enjoy asking this riddle question to everyone. Yes, so let me start. You have to think the answer. Okay, think and then give the answer. So the question for today is, what is always in front of you but cannot be seen? So the question is, what is that thing which is always in front of you but you cannot see it? What is that thing? Think and give the answer. Think. What is the answer for this? Should I give you the answer? Okay, let me think and give you the answer for this riddle. And the answer for this riddle is the future. So, the future is in front of us, but we cannot see it. Yes? So, a big star for me. Yes? Now, it's a riddle time, students. Yes? Now, it is a riddle time. So, now it's a study time. Yes? And I will ask you to bring all your study material. You should have your book, notebook with you, your pencil, highlighter, everything should be with you. Yes, because it's a study time. You don't have to move here and there while watching the video. And whatever doubts you are having in the class, in this video, whatever thing or whatever query you are having, you can just write down in your rough notebook and then you can ask that in the online doubt clear session. Okay, so now welcome to my social science class. And in social science we are studying history, and in history we have already started chapter number 4, what books and burials tell us. In this we have already covered the topic, one of the oldest book in the world. Yes, we have already covered that the oldest book in the world is Rig Veda. Yes, which was being composed 3,500 years back. Yes, and we have already studied about how historians study the Rig Veda. That how historians came to know about Rig Veda. They all were only hearing about the hymns which were said by their gurus and rishis. There was no written material, written book, printed book of the Rig Veda earlier. But now we have about 200 years back, this book Rig Veda has been printed. Now we can find this book in the. Now we will start with a topic. Today's topic, that how cattle, horses and chariots were being written in the Rig Veda, how they were used in Rig Veda. So there are many prayers in Rig Veda for cattle, children, especially son and horses. So in Rig Veda book, in Rig Veda text, there are so many prayers written on cattle, on children, especially on son and the horses. Horses were yoked to chariots that were used to in battles, which were fought to capture cattle. So horses were basically used to yoke the chariot. Chariot is a type of cart which is being yoked by horses, and that chariot is being used in battles, and the charioteers are the person who yoke the chariots. What is the name of that person who yoked the chariot? The person who who rides, who uses this chariot is known as charioteer. Which were, and this chariot was used in the battles. When the battles were there, they were fighting on riding on these chariots. So you can see the chariot. This is a cart. This is a type of cart which is being yoked by horse, and the person who is yoking the horse, that person is known as charioteer. Okay. So battles were also fought for land which was important for pastures and for growing hardy crops that ripened quickly, such as barley. So why were battles fought? Now the question will be arising that okay, chariots were used for battles, for fighting in battles. But why were they were doing the battles? Why were they fighting? So basically they were fighting. There were battles on land. They were fighting over the land, that this land will be mine, this land will be mine, which was important for pasture. And why they were fighting for land? They were fighting for land because they needed land for doing pasture. Pasture means they wanted there the cattle, they want to rear the cattle there, they want to keep the cattle there, and they want to grow the crops on that land, that so that the crops which can be ripened, very quickly, they can grow that crops on that land. Some battles were fought for water and to capture people also. So some battles were fought for water also, that this water flow, this river will flow towards my land, this river will flow towards my land, this water area will be mine, this water area will be mine. So some battles were fought for water also, and some were fought for capturing people, that if the person who are having battle and someone wins in the battle, then they will have that whole people, that whole community with them only, for and they will make them work. So here you can see the picture of battle, how they are doing a battle with each other for different purpose. Some of the wealth that was obtained was kept in by the leaders when they were doing the battle. So they acquired the land, they acquired the wealth also. So some of the wealth was kept by the leaders who were leading the battle, who were the leaders of them. Some was given to the priest, who was the teacher, you can say, who was teaching them, who was a guru of them. So some of the wealth they were giving to the priest, and the rest they were distributing among the people. So the leaders, some of the wealth was kept by the leaders only, some of the wealth was given to the priest, and the rest was distributed among the people of that particular area. Some of the wealth was used for performance of yajnas or sacrifice, in which offerings were made into fire. So some of the wealth was used in the performance in yajnas, means they were doing some type of pujas, yajnas or sacrifice, in which they were using fire and they were offering some of the things in the fire, like yagya. You can say they were using yajnas as they were doing yags, and for that they were keeping some amount, some wealth with them, so that they can do yajnas and sacrifices. These were meant for gods and goddesses. So why yajnas were done? These yajnas or the sacrifice was done for gods and goddesses. Offering could include ghee, grains, and in some cases animals also. So offering, what all things they were offering at that time in Rig Veda, it was written that these people were offering ghee in the fire. In the fire they were offering ghee, they were offering grains also, and sometimes in some cases they were offering animals also, like cattle, like buffalo they were giving as a sacrifice, like goat they were giving in sacrifice, that if my this wish will be fulfilled, then I will offer this thing, I will offer animal, I will offer buffalo. Like this they were doing the offerings in different types. Now, most men took part in these wars. There were no regular armies, but there were assemblies where people met and discussed matter of war and peace. So most of the war was done by most of the people. Most of the people took part in the wars, and there was no regular army. There was no army just like we have today, but there was assemblies where people met and discussed about the matters of war and peace, how they can do wars and how they can maintain peace in that area. So there were local assemblies there. They also choose leaders who were often brave and skillful warriors. So they also choose their own leaders, which were very brave and skillful warriors. There are several ways of describing people in terms of words they do, the languages they spoke, the place they belong, their families and communities, and cultural practices. So if we want to describe any people, there are different ways to describe the people. They were describing the people in terms of work, they were describing the people in the terms of language, speak, places, and they belong to their family, their community, and cultural practices. Now let us see some of the words used to describe people found in Rig Veda, how they were describing in Rig Veda the people. There are two groups who are described in terms of work. So in terms of work, they were dividing the people in two groups. The priest, sometimes called Brahmins, who were performed various rituals. So one was the priest who were known as Brahmins, who performed various rituals in the place. And the second group was the Rajas. These Rajas were not like the ones you will be learning about later. These Rajas are not those who were capturing land and who were Rajas, and they, after Raja the son become the Raja. So these Rajas were not like that. They were all being chosen by the by the people who, and these Rajas were all those people who were the great warriors and very brave people. They did not have capital cities, places, or armies, nor they did collect taxes. So these are not the Rajas which we are knowing right now in these days, that at earlier time the Rajas were having capital cities, they were having places, armies, nor they collect the taxes also. They were a normal people, but they were brave and they were very skillful, and the people choose them as their Rajas. They did not have capital cities, places, armies, and collect taxes. Generally, sons did not automatically succeed after fathers as rajas. So, as I told you, that these were not as the rajas which we will learn in the upcoming chapters. These are the rajas where the people were choosing them because of their braveness. These rajas were not like that, automatically if the father is raja, then the son will also become the raja. It will all depend on the people. If the person is eligible for that position, then he will become a raja. Read the previous section once more and see whether you can find out what the rajas did. So now you have understood what the rajas did in the Rig Veda. The rajas did not have capital cities, places, or armies, nor did they collect taxes. Generally, sons did not automatically succeed fathers as raja. The assemblies, so the assemblies where the people were meeting and discussing about the wars and the peace in that place, were choosing their leaders who were often brave and skillful warriors. Two words were used to describe the people of the community as a whole. So what were that two words? One was the word Jana. So Jana was used to describe the people or the community as a whole, which we still use in Hindi and other languages. So we use right now also in Hindi language and in Sanskrit language like Jana. Jana is a word which is used for people or the community as a whole. The other word was wish. They were using wish. Wish was a word from Vaishya, which comes from Vaishya. So it Vaishya, the people who do trading and business. You will learn more about this in chapter 5. Several wish or jana are mentioned by name. So several people and the wish are mentioned by name. So we find reference to the puru jana or wish, the bhrata jana or wish, the yadu jana or wish, and so on. So there are references. There are some reference text also on the wish and jana with the name of the puru jana, the bharata jana, or the yadu jana. These are the three reference texts. Do any of these names like Jana or Wish sound similar? Yes, the word Jana or Wish is familiar, which was used to describe the people of or community as a whole. This is used in Hindi and other languages. Yes? Sometimes the people who compose the hymns describe themselves as Arya. So sometimes what happened, the people themselves, who were composing the hymns, who were composing the praise for the god and goddesses, were described. They have described themselves as Aryas. They described themselves as Arya, who were composing the hymns, and they call their opponents, their subordinates, as dasas and dasis. So dasas for male and dasis for female. These were people who did not perform sacrifices and probably spoke different languages. So these dasas and the dasis were the people who were not doing any, they were the people who were not these Aryans were the people who were not performing any sacrifice. They were not doing any pujas and yajnas, but they were probably knowing different types of language on which they were composing the hymns. Later, the term dasa and the feminine dasi, so dasa is for male and dasi was used for females, come to mean as slaves. So later on it was named as slaves. And what does this slave means? Slaves were women and men who were often captured in war. So when they were doing battle, when they were doing war, all the women and men whom they were capturing, when they won the match, won the battle, those all men and women were known as slaves of those people. They were treated as property of their own, who could make them to whatever work they wanted to make them do. While the Rig Veda was being composed in the northwest of the subcontinent, there were other developments elsewhere. So when Rig Veda was being composed in the northwest part of the subcontinent, there were other developments also done somewhere else in other subcontinents or the same. Let us look at some of these. So silent sentinels, the story of megaliths. So we will discuss about the story of megaliths. What was the story of megaliths? What is megalith? Megaliths are stones. Yes, they are the big stone, literally very very big stones. So these stone builders are known as megaliths. Megaliths are, we have used this megalith in the first chapter also. Yes, megalith stones were used at that time also at Harappan civilization, Harappan cities also. These were carefully arranged by peoples and were used to mark burial sites. So these were the stones, big stones, which were carefully arranged by the people and were used to mark burial sites, that this is a burial site where the dead person has been buried. So for making a mark, these megalith stones were used. This you can see with the help of this megalith. So you can see here, these are the megaliths. This big is a megalith. Yes, this big is a megalith. You can see here these are megalith stones here. Now, the practice of erecting megaliths began about 3000 years ago and was prevalent throughout the Deccan, South India in the north, east and Kashmir. So, this practice of making the mark with the megalith began about 3000 years ago and was prevalent throughout the Deccan and towards the South India, and in the northeast towards the Kashmir. Yes, you can see this. Some important megalith sites are shown on map 2 on page number 2. Which are the megalithic sites? Megalithic sites are Brahmagiri, you can see in the map on page number 13, and Adichamholar. These are the two megalith sites. So you have to locate this site on the map. Yes, you should know where are the megalith sites on map. While some megaliths can be seen on the surface, other megaliths burials are often underground. So some of the megaliths you can see on the surface of the earth, and some other megaliths for burial are often underground. So some half portion is underground and half portion you can see on the surface of the earth. Sometimes archaeologists find a circle of stones, boulder or a single larger stone standing on ground. These are the only indications that there are burial beneath. So when the archaeologists find the circle of stone boulders or a single large stone standing on the ground, that make the archaeologists find that these are the burial sites. These are the burial beneath where the dead body is being buried. There are several things that people did not make megalith. So there are several things that people did not make megalith. We have made a list here. how the people made megalith. Try and arrange them in the correct order. So these are the these are the words, these are the sentences where how you have to arrange accordingly how the people were arranging the megaliths to bury the people and to make the burial sites. The answer is digging pit in the earth, finding suitable stones, breaking boulders, shaping stones, burying the dead, playing stones, position, transporting stones. These are the serial. All these burials have some common features. And what are the common features? Generally, the dead were buried with distinct pots, which are called black or red ware. So, generally, dead bodies were buried with distinct pots, which were called as black and red wares. All found are stones and weapons of iron and sometimes skeletons of horse equipments and ornaments of stones and gold. So archaeologists found in these burial sites, in these sites like tools, weapons of iron and sometimes skeletons of horse equipments and ornaments of stones and golds inside the burial sites in the megaliths, thick sites. Was iron used in Harappan cities? Yes. No, iron was not used at that time in Harappan cities. This type of megalith is known as a cyst. So these type of megaliths which are having some cyst, which are having one shown here, have a porthole which could be used as an entrance. So these type of megaliths, large stones, are known as cyst also. So some of the cysts are like in the shape like one shows here, like there are portholes, there are holes in between that, which was used as entrance. You can see here with the help of this, and here you can see the spaces there you can see a porthole is there, and this porthole is being used as an entrance for burying the site, burying the dead people. Iron equipments found from megalith burials are horse equipment. So from the archaeologists found the iron equipments from the megalithic burials. And what are the iron equipments which they found? They found the horse equipment. What is the horse equipment? This type of iron equipment they found in the megalithic burial site, and this is a horse equipment. This is called as a horse equipment. They also find axes in the form of this. They found this also in the megalithic burial. They found the dragger were also in the burial sites of megalithic sites. So this is a dragger which they found in the megalithic burial sites. The archaeologists find all these things in the megalithic burial sites. So now students, we have done the explanation of the chapter. Till the explanation you have to read the book. We have today discussed about the megalithic sites, we have discussed about the megalithic burials, we have studied how the people described themselves in the how were the people described in the Rig Veda. Yes, by different names. Now there is a homework for you. Read the history book, chapter number 4, page number 38 and 48. And if you find any query, if you have any question regarding this, you can just write down in your rough notebook. And whenever we will have a doubt clearing session, online doubt clearing session, at that time you can ask me the answer. Thanks and regards. Thanks and have a nice day, students.